Welcome to any new listeners or to anyone who's watching on YouTube. This is my first time recording for YouTube. So there's one thing that you should know about me over anything else, and that is that I've got two French bulldogs. And having two French bulldogs often comes with funny noises and distractions. So I'm just going to turn the camera so as you can see them. But there they are, Rosie and Hugo. The one with the donut on his head is Hugo. And he's got that on because if we're not sat with him and giving him lots of attention, then he chews his paws, itches his ear, and yeah, he's very needy. So if you ever hear any funny noises going on in the background, then it's probably them. Today's episode is all about forgiving yourself when you've fucked up. We all do it. We all make mistakes. We all break things. We all upset people unintentionally. We all make wrong decisions. Is anybody resonating with this? Unfortunately, it's unavoidable unless you're superhuman. It's all part of being human, is making mistakes. But when we make mistakes, particularly if they involve somebody else's feelings, somebody else's things or property, we can find ourselves in a spiral of self-hate, self-blame, self-criticism. So how do we avoid doing this? And this is something I've had to learn for myself recently. I, like you, like anybody else on this lovely earth, makes mistakes. And I can think of two, but I'm going to focus on one recently where I didn't explain something to somebody as well as I could have. And so there were mixed messages, there was miscommunication. And this miscommunication led to the other person, who is somebody very close to me, the other person having their expectations being let down, shall we say, which led to me feeling like I'd let them down. And when we feel like we let somebody down, this web of self-blame, of self-judgment, of self-criticism and self-hate often spirals out of control. But what if I told you that making mistakes and learning to forgive ourselves is actually an opportunity to grow? None of us can live without imperfections. And by acknowledging these imperfections, and by imperfections, I mean being human, making mistakes, right? Making the wrong decisions, not being perfect at everything, and being willing to be vulnerable. And I guess admitting you're wrong, admitting you've done something wrong, is being vulnerable. Admitting you've upset somebody is being vulnerable. But being willing to be vulnerable and to see these imperfections can actually put us on the path to personal growth, or speed up our personal growth. So I have put together a very simple ABC of how we can begin the path to self-forgiveness when we've made a mistake. So A is acknowledging that you've made a mistake. Acknowledging to yourself, because I don't know about you, quite often, if I make a mistake, my initial response is to automatically defend myself. And I really go into defensive mode. But by acknowledging what you've done wrong is the first step of, admitting that you are not perfect, accepting responsibility for the things that we've done wrong. intentionally or not, accepting responsibility for them, and if necessary, apologizing for those mistakes. And this shows our willingness to um, move on. And I encourage you to think of a time when somebody might have made a mistake and you were on the receiving end of it. How did you feel with how they responded? If they were defensive and immediately tried to make excuses, how did that make you feel? And similarly, if they admitted they were wrong, acknowledged they'd made a mistake, how did that make you feel? Did them acknowledging it, just simply acknowledging it, make you feel better somehow and like they have some remorse? It just, in my experience, it does take the sting out of it when people can say, yeah, I'm so sorry, I fucked up. This is what I would do next time. So that was A. B is to breathe. Breathe. Meditate. Practice mindfulness. Observe your thoughts and feelings, like any feelings or emotions that are coming up for you. Let them come up and let them pass without judgment. So these feelings that we feel when we've made a mistake, feeling like we've let somebody down, feeling shame, feeling guilt, feeling regret. These are all feelings that we all feel from time to time. And let's be honest, they're shit feelings. It's not nice knowing that you've been the reason for somebody being upset. But by letting those feelings come up, sitting with them, breathing with them, and letting them go, letting them pass on, is all part of the grieving process, all part of the healing process of making mistakes. But it's really important to let these feelings pass without holding on for them for too long. Feeling like we have to hold on to these feelings and emotions in order to punish ourselves. That simply isn't the case. Like, it doesn't make any difference if you however long you hold on to it for. It doesn't make any difference. Feeling those feelings in the first place is what makes us empathetic people. But by holding on to those feelings for longer than they need to is going to create limiting beliefs for us. And this is especially true if you're a people pleaser. Like, I try really hard not to be, but many of us are, and it's something that I work on lots. But if we're a people pleaser and if we allow ourselves to feel shame and guilt longer than we need to, then we're going to go out of our way to please people and to put others' feelings before our own all the time. So when I say breathe, I literally mean breathe. Breathe those feelings. Breathe them in. The shame, the guilt. Let them sit with you. It's okay. We're all going to feel that. And when you breathe out, let them come out with your breath. Breathe out that feeling of shame, regret, guilt, feeling like you've let people down. Breathe it out. So the C of my ABC is create. Create new ways of doing things. And a way we can do this is to, when we've done the first two steps, we've acknowledged and we've breathed out those, breathed, is that a word? Anyway, you know what I mean. Once we've breathed out those negative feelings and emotions after sitting with them and allowing them to be present, we've breathed them out. Create new ways of doing things, create new ways of thinking. How would you do things differently next time? What lessons have you learned from the mistakes you've made? And this is the part that leads to our self development, our self improvement, our personal growth, whatever phrase you like to use. Learning from any mistakes you make, working out how you would do things differently is how we grow. Every mistake we make, whether that's making the wrong decision, whether that's a fuck up in our business, whether that is upsetting somebody, doing the wrong thing, all those things are an opportunity to do it better next time. So if we don't reflect on our mistakes, then they're going to waste. And if we don't make mistakes in the first place, then I don't think we're ever going to grow. So there is my very simple ABC to forgiving yourself when you fucked up. A, acknowledge what you've done wrong. B, breathe out those negative emotions, negative feelings that come up for you. And C, create new ways of doing things. Learn from your mistakes. So I just want to wrap it up today by just remembering that this is always going to be an ongoing process. We're always going to be making mistakes. We're always going to be learning. And as long as we're aware of ourselves, our mistakes, our feelings, and our emotions, allow them to pass, then we're always going to be growing. We're always going to be raising our vibration. And that's what I'm all about. I just want to finish by reading out a quote from Maya Angelou that resonates so much. And that is, forgive yourself for not knowing what you did not know before you learned it. Such a powerful quote. Anyway, I hope this episode has helped. Next time you feel you're unable to forgive yourself for a mistake you've made, come back to this episode. And if it's resonated with you, then please do leave me a note in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. For the YouTubers watching, please come and follow me on Instagram and don't forget to let me know what you thought. As always, I'm sending lots and lots of love, and I'll see you in the next episode.